We are streaming live on YouTube.
All right. So, welcome to our reading of. What are we reading today?
Once upon a time.
Absolutely. Yes. Once upon a time. And we'll be reading today episodes 1 and 3. Don't ask me where 2 is. I have no idea. But our story should make perfect sense, hopefully, without episode 2 in the middle, anyways. And we're going to introduce you to our lovely cast today. And starting up on my upper left, anyways, with Vicky.
Hello, I'm Vicky Dykes. I'm from Penhold, Alberta. And I will be reading Regina, Evil Queen, and a bunch of small roles and actions and description in, I guess it would be the third episode.
Episode 3, yep. All right, moving over to Aubrey.
Hello, I am Aubrey. I am playing Charming / David, mostly, and then there's a bunch of smaller characters that I have in there as well. Okay, sorry, I have a cat. I'm from California. Like, wait, what am I doing? Sorry, being distracted. My pronouns are I don't care. Whatever. Just doesn't matter. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You can find me on Instagram at Luthien and the Fair, and on Facebook as Aubrey McCoy.
Okay, moving down to Anamika.
Hi, my name is Anamika. My pronouns are she, her. I'm also in California, and today I'll be reading Snow and Mary Margaret, as well as a few other folks throughout the episodes. And yeah, you can find me on Facebook too.
Awesome. Leslie, nice to have you back. Been a while.
Thank you. It's nice to be back. Hi, everyone. I'm Leslie Hellman. I live in beautiful, sunny Los Angeles, California. My pronouns are she, her. I am an actress and a science educator. So you can find out about my acting at lesliehellman.com. You can find out about my science education at CaptainLadybug.com. You can find me on Instagram at Captain Leslie Sy, which combines both of those aspects of me. And today I'm reading Emma, which I am excited about because I very much enjoyed at least the first several seasons of this show, and this is my favorite character, so I'm stoked.
Awesome. And Padmini.
Hi, I'm Padmini Sukumaran, and my pronouns are she, her. I'm playing Doc Henry Jailer Rumpelstiltskin, Gold Coachman Guards, Henry and Walter
Troll
and Nurse.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And tonight, my name's Kat Wilson. I am in Gig Harbor, Washington. She, her pronouns. I'll be reading actions and descriptions in the first half and a few minor characters. And for those of you unfamiliar with this show, it takes place partly in Fairy Tale Land and partly in Storybrooke, Maine, in which the fairy tale characters have their counterparts, so to speak, who don't necessarily know that they are fairy tale characters. So it should be interesting to watch the script unfold, if you can hopefully follow along who's who here. And we did try and cast it so that if you are a character in Fairy Tale Land, you are playing their counterpart in Storybrooke, Maine. So that should help our audience out there. So I'm going to go ahead and share our script here, and we'll get going. Let's see, share screen. Gotta find it first. Here we go.
Oh, one very small note, that Anna is definitely supposed to be Emma. I think it's an artifact of an early draft, because apparently the name was originally Anna and then they switched it. So it's just the same character changing a bit. So.
All right, and I know I need to make this slightly larger here, so let's see. How does that look, or you want it small, a little bit bigger? I apologize for the R2D2 sound.
That looks good.
Okay. All right. So, Once Upon a Time, Season 1, Episodes 1 and 3, written by Edward Kitsis and Adam Horowitz, edited for ZTM by Kyle Fiorelli. Episode 1 Pilot. Once upon a time, there was an enchanted forest filled with all the classic characters we know, or think we know. One day, they found themselves trapped in a place where all their happy endings were stolen. Our world. This is how it happened. Over black, we hear the sound of galloping. Fade up on a horse breaks into a frame riding across the beautiful stretch of land carrying Prince Charming. Charming pushes his horse hard into the woods. He moves through the thick trees, dodging branches. He reaches a clearing and skids to a halt. He pushes into the clearing and comes across a glass coffin. Surrounding the coffin are 7 dwarves.
You're too late.
They slowly part, revealing in the coffin Snow White, beautiful, eyes closed, hands folded over her chest, dead. Charming's eyes well up. And you're muted.
No, no,
He moves to the coffin's side.
open it.
I'm sorry, she's gone. He kneels down beside the coffin as the tears stream down his cheeks.
At least let me say goodbye. Oops.
Oops, my fault. The dwarves look at one another and Grumpy nods. They slowly open the glass case. Ooh, this scrolls really strangely. Charming leans over and softly kisses Snow White's lips. A shockwave of energy blasts out from the kiss and across the land. True love is showing its power. He pulls back as Snow White gasps to life. Charming smiles. Tears move from grief to joy as she looks up at him.
You found me.
Did you ever doubt I would?
Truthfully, the glass coffin gave me pause.
You never have to worry. I will always find you.
Do you promise?
I do.
Suddenly, we're inside a ballroom. Snow White wears a white gown. She's standing opposite Charming in formal attire. A bishop stands between them. This is their wedding. Snow White smiles at his I do. It is the most lavish, opulent fairy tale wedding. All the subjects of the kingdom are assembled. And that would be you, Leslie. Do we lose Leslie?
She's muted.
Oh, you're muted, Leslie.
That would explain why you haven't said I do yet. And do you, Snow White, promise to take this man to be your husband and love him for all eternity?
I do.
I now pronounce you husband and wife.
The crowd cheers. They lean into one another for what promises to be the storybook kiss to end all storybook kisses. And just as their lips are about to touch, crash! The doors of the far end of the ballroom fly open. Entering, wearing a flowing black gown, is the evil queen. But this queen isn't the hunchback hag we remember from fairy tale lore. She is beautiful in a dark and haunted way. Those assembled gasp in fear, parting like the Red Sea lest her gaze fall upon them.
Sorry I'm late.
She carries herself with casual menace as she strides up the aisle toward the dais. This is really strange. Okay. All right. 2 of the prince's guards rush at the queen. She casually waves her hands at them, Jedi style, and they're thrown up in the air and right through the stained glass windows. The queen keeps marching right up toward Charming and Snow.
It's the queen! Run!
Snow reaches for Charming's belt and pulls out his sword. She points it at the queen.
She's not a queen anymore. She's nothing more than an evil witch.
No, don't stoop to her level. There's no need.
Charming gently takes the sword from Snow and turns to face the queen, who stands at the base of the dais, smiling malevolently up at them.
You're wasting your time. You've already lost. I will not let you ruin this wedding.
Oh, I haven't come here to ruin anything. On the contrary, dear, I've come to give you a gift.
We want nothing from you.
But You shall have it. My gift to you is this on this happy, happy day, because tomorrow is the beginning of the end. For tomorrow, my real work begins. You've made your vows. Now I make mine. Soon, everything you love, everything all of you love, will be taken from you forever. And out of you, suffering will rise, my victory. I shall destroy your happiness if it's the last thing I do.
She turns and strides back up the aisle. Charming's had enough.
Hey!
He hurls his sword at the queen, and just as it's about to hit her, poof! A puff of smoke envelops the queen and she disappears. Charming turns to his new bride and holds her in his arms, comforting her. We hold on this troubled tableau, and slowly the image morphs into a drawing. We realize we're looking at a picture in a book, intricately detailed on yellowed paper. This is an old book, and this drawing is part of a story. On a Greyhound bus headed to Boston, a 10-year-old boy, Henry, closes the book.
Is that a good book?
It's more than just a book.
Oh,
Boston, South Station. Thank you for riding Greyhound.
Henry exits the bus with the other passengers. South Station is busy with early evening pedestrian traffic. He makes his way through the crowd to a taxi. A driver chats on his Bluetooth in the front seat. Henry knocks on the window.
hold on.
The driver rolls down the window.
You take credit cards?
Where to, Chief?
Cut to an upscale eatery in a nice neighborhood, trendy and chic. The elevator opens to reveal a woman who is, let's not kid ourselves here, a presence. This is Emma Swan. Right now, she's dolled up for a night out and looks nervous and vulnerable as she scans the room. She sees table after table of couples eating and chatting. Her eyes stop on a table in the corner. Sitting there alone is a handsome man. His eyes widen as she saunters across the room and he quickly rises to greet her.
Emma?
Ryan,
They shake hands.
you look relieved.
Oh, well, it is the internet.
She pulls out her chair as she sits.
Pictures can be.
Fake, outdated, stolen from a Victoria's Secret catalog.
Uh, I mean, exactly.
So,
So, tell me something about yourself, Emma.
well, today's my birthday.
And you're spending it with me? What about your friends?
I'm kind of a loner.
And you don't like your family?
No family alike.
Oh, come on. Everyone has family.
Well, technically, yeah, and everyone knows who they are. Ready to run yet?
Oh, not a chance. You, Emma, are by far the sexiest friendless orphan that I have ever met.
Okay, your turn. Oh, no, wait. Let me guess. You are handsome, charming,
Go on.
the kind of guy who, and now stop me if I get this wrong, embezzled from your employer, got arrested, and skipped town before they were able to throw your ass in jail.
What?
And the worst part of all this is that your wife loves you so much that she bailed you out. And how do you reward that loyalty? You're out on a date.
Who are you?
The chick who put up the rest of the money.
A bail bondsman?
Bail bonds person.
And now Ryan bolts away, knocking the table into Emma. A glass of wine spills on her dress. She picks herself up as Ryan runs out the front door. She stares down at her stained dress.
Really?
Ryan frantically runs out of the restaurant and into the street. She strides out the door and across the street, not running, just walking confidently. Ryan races down the block to a parked Audi. He pulls open the door and jumps in. When he glances over his shoulder, he sees Emma striding down the block, a Terminator in coiture. Ryan turns the ignition and guns the engine. He hears a horrible crunching sound. There is a boot on his back wheel. Emma now stands in front of him.
You don't have to do this, okay? I can pay you. I've got money.
No, you don't. And if you did, you should give it to your wife. Take care of your family.
What the hell do you know about family?
Emma grabs him by the collar and slams his face into the steering wheel. Ryan slumps over, unconscious. Emma just stands there for a moment.
Nothing.
Cut to a door opening to a small, dingy apartment in a cookie-cutter apartment complex. Emma enters and kicks off her heels, still wearing her wine-stained dress, but now also carrying a small paperback. She places the bag on the counter and pulls out a small paper bag. She places the bag on the counter and pulls out a cupcake. She grabs a box of birthday candles, rifles through to find a blue star-shaped candle, and puts it in the cupcake. Emma then takes out a book of matches and lights the candle. She stares at the flickering light.
Another banner year.
Emma closes her eyes, makes a wish, and blows out the candle. Ding dong! The smoke wafts away from the cupcake as she moves to the door. She pulls it open to see Henry, the kid from the bus, standing in the doorway, backpack slung over his shoulder.
Can I help you?
Are you Emma Swan?
Yeah. Who are you?
My name's Henry. I'm your son.
Henry saunters by Emma, who stands in the doorway completely stunned. Henry takes in the place.
Whoa! Hey, kid! I don't have a son. Where are your parents?
10 years ago, did you give up a baby for adoption?
Emma stops short.
That was me.
Give me a minute.
Emma hurries to the bathroom and slams the door behind her, struggling.
Hey, do you have any juice? Never mind, found some.
She comes out to find Henry drinking orange juice straight from the bottle.
You know, we should probably get going.
Going where?
I want you to come home with me.
Okay, kid. I'm calling the cops.
Emma strides over to the phone.
Then I'll tell them you kidnapped me.
And they'll believe you because I'm your birth mother.
Yep.
You're not going to do that.
Try me.
You're pretty good. But here's the thing. There's not a lot I'm great at in life, but I have one skill. Let's call it a superpower. I can tell when anyone is lying. And you, kid, are.
She starts to dial.
Wait, please don't call the cops. Please, come home with me.
Where's home?
Storybrook, Maine.
Storybrook? Seriously?
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty then. Let's get you back to Storybrook.
Cut back to fairy tale land. In a large castle surrounded by a shining lake, Snow White, now very pregnant, stands by the window staring out in a daze. She gently holds her belly.
What's wrong?
Nothing.
You're thinking about what the Queen said again, aren't you?
Her pained silence answers him.
Snow, please. I can't keep having this conversation. You have to let it up. We're about to have a baby.
I haven't had a restful night since our wedding.
That's what she wants. Get in your head. But they're only words. She can't hurt us.
She poisoned an apple because she thought I was prettier than her. You have no idea of what she's capable.
What can I do to ease your mind?
Let me talk to him.
Him? You don't mean...
I do.
No! No, it's too dangerous.
He sees the future.
There's a reason he's locked up.
Can you promise me that our child will be safe? Can you guarantee it? Because he can.
Charmy can't argue with that and nods.
Okay, all right. For our child.
Cut back to our world. Emma drives Henry back towards Storybrook. They sit in uncomfortable silence.
Hungry, you want to stop somewhere?
This is not a road trip. We're not stopping for snacks.
Why not?
Quit complaining, kid. Remember, I could have put your butt in a bus. Still could.
You know, I have a name. It's Henry.
She looks over at Henry, who once again has his nose buried in a big old book.
What's that?
I'm not sure you're ready.
Ready for some fairy tales?
They're not fairy tales, they're true. Every story in this book actually happened.
Of course they did.
Use your superpower to see if I'm lying.
She looks at him and he seems awfully convinced.
Just because you believe something doesn't make it true.
That's exactly what makes it true. You should know that more than anyone.
What is that?
Because you're in this book.
Kid, you've got problems?
Yep, and you're going to fix them.
Henry turns back to the book and we fly into the pages. Back in Fairy Tale Land, a jailer leads Snow and Charming down the dimly lit hall by torch to the dungeons.
When we reach the cell, stay out of the light. And whatever you do, do not let him know your name. If he knows your name, he'll have power over you.
They approach a dank cell, making sure to keep hidden in the shadows.
Rumpelstiltskin, Rumpelstiltskin, I have a question for you.
An eerie, deranged voice speaks from the darkness.
No, you don't. They do.
From behind the bars, a figure steps into the light, revealing Rumpelstiltskin, gnomish, intense.
Snow White and Prince Charming. You insult me. Step into the light and take off those ridiculous robes.
They do.
Ah, that's much better.
We've come to ask you about
Yes,
this.
yes, I know why you're here. You want to know about the Queen's threat.
Tell us what you know.
Oh, tense, aren't we? Fear not, for I can ease your bind, but it's going to cost you something in return.
No. This is a waste of time.
What do you want?
Oh, the name of your unborn child?
Absolutely not.
Deal. What do you know?
No.
Ah, the Queen has created a powerful curse, and it's coming. Soon you'll all be in a prison, just like me, only worse. Your prison, all of our prisons will be time. The time will stop and we will be trapped. Some place horrible where everything we hold dear, everything we love will be ripped from us while we suffer for all eternity, while the Queen celebrates victorious at last. No more happy endings.
What can we do?
We can't do anything.
Who can?
The little thing growing inside your belly.
Rumple reaches his hands through the bars. His long, dirty fingernails reaches, heading for Snow's stomach. Charming swats his hand back with the butt of his sword.
Next time I cut it off.
Tisk, 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 tisk. The infant is our only hope. Get the child to safety. Get the child to safety, and on its 28th birthday, the child will return. The child will find you, and the final battle will begin.
I've heard enough. We're leaving.
He starts to pull Snow away from the cell. Rumple starts bouncing up and down.
Hey, no, we made a deal. I want her name. We had a deal. I need her name. I want her name.
Her. It's a boy.
Missy, Missy, you know I'm right. Tell me, what's her name?
Emma. Her name is Emma.
Say to that, Rumpelstiltskin.
Oh, Emma.
Cut back to Emma's car. They've just passed the sign, "Welcome to Storybrooke." Surrounded by the forest, Storybrooke, while quaint, definitely has an air of magic to it. The car heads down the nearly deserted main street into the town square, passing shops, a few restaurants, a clock tower, no chain stores. This place is in its own world, and right now it's after midnight and pretty much shut down.
All right, kid. How about an address?
44 Not Telling You Street.
She slams on her
Look.
brakes and gets out of the car.
Look, it's been a long night, and it's almost
She looks at the clock tower.
8:15.
That clock hasn't moved in my whole life. Time is frozen here.
Excuse me?
The evil queen did it with her curse. She sent everyone from the enchanted forest here.
Hang on. An evil queen sent a bunch of fairy tale characters here,
Yeah, and now they're trapped.
frozen in time, stuck in Storybrooke, Maine. That's what you're going with?
It's true.
Well, then why doesn't everybody just leave?
They can't. If they try, bad things happen.
Henry?
They look up to see an eccentric-looking gentleman walking a Dalmatian and carrying an umbrella. This is Archie.
Oh, what are you doing here? Is everything all right?
I'm fine, Archie.
Who's this?
Just someone trying to give him a ride home.
She's my mom, Archie.
Oh, I see.
You know where he lives?
Oh, yeah, sure. Just right up the Mifflin Street. The mayor's house is the biggest one on the block.
You're the mayor's kid?
Maybe.
Hey, where were you today, Henry? 'Cause you missed our session.
Oh, I forgot to tell you I went on a field trip.
Henry, what did I tell you about lying? Giving in to one's dark side never accomplishes anything.
Okay, well, I really should be getting him home.
Yeah, sure. Well, listen, have a good night, and you be good, Henry.
Archie smiles politely at them and continues up the street.
So, that's your shrink.
Not crazy.
Didn't say that, just... He doesn't seem cursed to me. Maybe he's just trying to help you.
He's the one who needs help because he doesn't know.
That he's a fairy tale character?
None of them do. They don't remember who they are.
Convenient. All right, I'll play. Who's he supposed to be?
Jiminy Cricket.
They both get back in Emma's car.
Right, the lying thing. I thought your nose grew a little bit.
I'm not Pinocchio.
Of course you're not, because that would be ridiculous.
Emma takes off, and we cut back to the fairy tale land war room. A council has been assembled. Knights, the dwarves, the huntsman, Jiminy Cricket. Snow sits next to Charming, holding her belly and looking terribly worried.
I say we fight.
Fighting is a bad idea. Giving in to one's dark side never accomplishes anything.
And how many wars has the clear conscience won? We need to take the queen out before she can inflict her curse.
Edmini, that's you.
Can we even trust Rumpelstiltskin?
I've sent my men into the forest. The animals are abuzz with the queen's plan. This is going to happen unless we do something.
There's no point. The future is written.
No, I refuse to believe that. Good can't just lose.
Maybe it can.
No, not as long as we have each other. If you believe him about the curse, then you must believe about our child. She will be our savior.
Then the door flies open. In walk several guards. They haul in a large tree trunk.
What the hell is this?
Our only hope of saving that child.
And now in floats the blue fairy. She hovers over the trunk. A tree? Our fate rests on a tree? Ha! Let's get back to the fighting thing.
The tree is enchanted. If fashioned into a vessel, it can ward off any curse. Geppetto, can you build such a thing?
Me and my boy, we can do it.
He places his hand on the head of a small boy sitting beside him.
This will work. We all must have faith.
Snow grabs Charming's hand and squeezes it.
There is, however, a catch. The enchantment is indeed powerful, but all power has its limits, and this tree can protect only one.
Prince Charming and Snow White look at one another. The implication is sinking in. Cut to Storybrooke, Mifflin Street, a cul-de-sac lined with large homes. The largest and most inviting is where Emma is now parked. She steps out with Henry.
Please don't take me back there.
I have to. I'm sure your parents are worried sick about you.
I don't have parents, just a mom, and she's evil.
Evil. That's a bit extreme, isn't it?
She is. She doesn't love me. She only pretends to.
Kid, I'm sure that's not true.
Henry!
The door of the house swings open, and rushing out of it is Henry's adopted mother, Regina. She's identical to the evil queen in Fairy Tale Land, only without her queen outfit. She just appears to be the attractive suburban mom in her 30s. and standing beside her, looking concerned as he takes in the scene, is the oh so handsome town sheriff Graham.
Henry!
Regina rushes up and wraps Henry in a hug.
Oh, are you okay? Where have you been? What had happened?
I found my real mom.
And with that, he runs up the stairs and into the house. Regina looks up and sees Emma for the first time.
You're Henry's birth mother?
Hi.
I'll just go check on the lad, make sure he's all right.
The sheriff heads into the house, leaving Regina with Emma. Regina gives Emma a sickeningly sweet smile.
How would you like a glass of the best apple cider you ever tasted?
Got anything stronger?
Inside Regina's lavish home, Emma stands in the entryway as Regina prepares their drinks.
How did he find me?
No idea. When I adopted him, he was only 3 weeks old. The records were sealed. I was told the birth mother didn't want to have any contact.
You were told right.
And the father?
There was one.
Do I need to be worried about him?
No, he doesn't even know.
Do I need to be worried about you, Miss Swan?
She hands Emma her drink.
Absolutely not.
The sheriff appears at the top of the stairs.
Mother Mare, you can relax. Other than being a little tired, little boy, Henry's fine.
Oh, thank you, Sheriff.
Graham heads for the door and the two women move Regina steady.
I'm sorry he dragged you out of your life. I really don't know what's gotten into him.
Kid's having a rough time. It happens.
You have to understand, ever since I became mayor, balancing things has been tricky. You have a job, I assume?
I keep busy, yeah.
Emma sets her glass down beside a display of fresh red apples.
Imagine having another one on top of it. Oh, that's being a single mom. So I push for order. Am I strict? I suppose. But I do it for his own good. I want Henry to excel in life. I don't think that makes me evil, do you?
I'm sure he's just saying that because of the fairy tale thing.
What fairy tale thing?
Well, you know, his book, how he thinks everyone's a cartoon character from it, like his shrink is Jiminy Cricket.
I'm sorry. I really have no idea what you're talking about.
You know what? It's none of my business. He's your kid, and I really shouldn't be heading back.
Oh, of course.
Regina stands abruptly to let Emma out. Outside, Emma senses something and turns to see Henry watching her from his bedroom window. As Emma is driving out of Storybrooke, she looks down at the passenger seat and notices Henry's storybook.
Sneaky bastard.
Emma looks up to see a wolf in the road. She panics and swerves, crashing her car into the Welcome to Storybrooke sign. And she lies unconscious at the wheel. The pages turn in the storybook, and we dive back into fairy tale land. In the nursery, Geppetto and Pinocchio work on the vessel made from the enchanted tree. Snow stands at the window, watching across the courtyard into the nursery. She shakes her head at Charming.
I don't want to do this.
It has to be you.
I'm not leaving you.
It's the only way. You'll go in there and you'll be safe from the curse.
He said it would be on her 28th birthday.
What's 28 years when you have eternal love? I have faith. You will save me as I did you.
She pulls him in and they kiss deeply. This is a proclamation of epic love. Snow quickly pulls away, her face ashen.
What is it?
Baby!
Snow doubles over, clutching her
What?
stomach. She looks up, her face a ball of agony.
She's coming!
That night, up on the guard tower, Grumpy keeps watch with two knights. He pulls out a flask and takes a swig. He squints in the moonlight. He sees something that worries him, then quickly turns to Sleepy and rouses him. Wake up! Wake up, look! Seeping out of the forest is a sheet of green mist, like a fog that envelops everything it passes over and swallowing it up. The curse! It's here! He clangs an ancient bell in warning. Cut to Emma, waking up to the sound of someone whistling, "Whistle while you work." She opens her eyes to find she's in a jail cell. The person whistling is none other than Grumpy. Well, the real world version of Grumpy. "What are you looking at, sister?" He's interrupted by the janitor, who bears a striking resemblance to Geppetto.
Hey, Leroy Manners. We have a guest. So you are Henry's mother. How lovely for you to have him back in his life.
Emma grabs her head, which is pounding.
Actually, I was just dropping him off.
"Don't blame you. They're all brats. Who needs them?"
Well, cry me a river. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. I'm so sad. I'm so sorry.
No worries.
What? I don't know. Well, I'd give anything for one. My wife and I, we tried for many years, but he was not meant to be.
Well, cry me a river. The sheriff enters and unlocks Leroy's cell.
Leroy, if I'm going to let you out, you need to behave. But don't smile and stay out of trouble.
Leroy grins mockingly at Graham and saunters out.
Seriously?
Regina drinks a little stronger than we thought.
I wasn't drunk. There was a wolf standing in the middle of the road.
Oh, oof. Right.
Regina blows into the room.
Graham, Henry's run away again. We have to do.
She stops short when she sees Emma.
What is she doing here? Do you know where he is?
Lady, I haven't seen him since I dropped him off at your house, and I have a pretty good alibi.
Yeah, well, he wasn't in his room this morning.
Did you try his friends?
He doesn't really have any. He's kind of a loner.
Every kid has friends. Did you check his computer? If he's close to someone, he'd be emailing them.
And do you know this how?
Finding people is what I do. Here's an idea. How about you guys let me out, and I'll help you find him.
Cut to a computer screen. Emma moves the mouse, revealing a web browser, as we see we're in Henry's room. Emma taps away at the keyboard. Regina watches, anxious, by Graham.
Smart kid, cleared his inbox. I'm smart too. A little hard disk recovery utility I like to use.
Emma pulls out a USB cord on her keychain and plugs it in.
I'm a bit more old-fashioned in my techniques. Pounding the pavement, knocking on doors, that sort of thing.
You're on salary. I get paid for delivery. Pounding the pavement is not a luxury I get.
On the screen, the inbox reforms. Email after email reappears. Emma raises her eyebrow at one.
There's a receipt for a website. www.who'syourmama.org. It's expensive. He has a credit card?
He's 10.
Well, he used one. Let's pull up the transaction record. Mary Margaret Blanchard. Who's Mary Margaret Blanchard?
Henry's teacher.
Cut to a room full of fourth graders sitting at their desks, listening raptly to a sweet voice as they work on an art project.
As we build our birdhouses, remember what you're making is a home, not a cage. A bird is free and will do what it will. This is for them, not us. They're loyal creatures.
Mary Margaret Blanchard. The first thing we notice, she looks exactly like Snow White. She's holding a small bluebird and demonstrates her point. She lets it go by the windowsill. It flies outside the window and right to a birdhouse perched on a tree.
If you love them and they love you, they will always find you.
The bell rings.
Oh, we'll pick this up after recess. No running.
The kids file out the door. One student hurries up to give Mary Margaret a pear.
Oh, why, thank you.
Regina pushes her way into Mary Margaret's classroom.
Oh, Miss Mills, what are you doing here?
Where's my son?
Henry? I assumed he was homesick with you.
Do you think I'd be here if he was?
Emma enters in the background.
Did you give him your credit card so we can find her?
I'm sorry, who are you?
I'm his. I'm
The
his
woman who gave him up for adoption.
Mary Margaret hurries to her handbag, rifles through it.
You don't know anything about this, do you?
No, unfortunately not.
Her face falls. The credit card is missing from her wallet.
Clever boy. I should never have given him that book.
What in the hell is this book I keep hearing about?
Just some old stories I gave him. As you well know, Henry is a special boy, so smart, so creative, and as you might be aware, lonely. He needed it.
What he needs is a dose of reality. Oh, this is a waste of time.
Regina storms from the room, knocking a stack of books to the floor.
Have a nice trip to Boston.
Emma hurries to help Mary Margaret pick up the books.
Sorry to bother you.
No, it's okay. I fear this is partially my fault.
How's a book supposed to help?
Oh, what do you think stories are for? These stories, the classics, there's a reason we all know them. They're a way for us to deal with our world, a world that doesn't always make sense. Henry hasn't had the easiest life.
Yeah, she's kind of a hard ass.
No, it's more than just her. He's like any adopted child. He wrestles with that basic question they all inevitably face. Why would anyone give me away?
Mary Margaret turns to Emma, mortified.
Oh, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I didn't mean to judge you in any way.
It's okay.
I mean, look, I gave the book to him because I wanted Henry to have the most important thing anyone can have: hope. Believing in even the possibility of a happy ending is a very powerful thing.
You know where he is, don't you?
You might want to check his castle.
Cut to the fairy tale land castle. We push through the bedroom window to find Snow in bed in labor, her face a ball of agony. Doc tends to her. Charming is at her side. She clutches his hand like a vice.
I can't have this baby now!
Doc, do something. It's gonna be okay. The wardrobe's almost finished. Just hold on.
The evil queen, accompanied by dozens of black knights, races through the woods. At the castle, Geppetto rushes in.
It's ready.
Charming starts to scoop Snow up, but Doc shakes his head.
It's too late. We can't move her.
Push.
The black carriage approaches. Behind it, we see the mist slowly encroaching. The queen smiles wickedly from inside her carriage, a smile of victory. As the mist begins to envelop the castle grounds, we hear a baby cry. Baby Emma is wrapped in a blanket. Snow cradles her child, looking up at her with all the love in her heart, then up at Charming as a horrible realization dawns.
Wardrobe, it only takes one.
Outside, we hear the sounds of a battle raging. The queen and her curse are closing in.
Then our plan failed. At least we're together.
He holds her tight. Snow just stares at her baby.
No, you have to take her. Take the baby to the wardrobe.
Are you out of your mind?
No, it's the only way. You have to send her through.
No! You don't know what you're saying.
No, I do. We have to believe that she'll come back for us.
Tears stream down her cheeks as she makes this most difficult proclamation. Charming is crying too because he knows she's right.
We have to give her her best chance.
Charming kisses baby Emma on the forehead.
Goodbye, Emma.
Snow kisses the baby's forehead. The tears are flowing freely. She then hands the baby to Charming. He kisses Snow quickly and then runs off, not before grabbing a sword. Snow cannot bear her grief and falls into sobs as he leaves. With the baby wrapped in a blanket in his arms and his sword drawn, Charming races down the stairs and out into another hallway. He moves to the nursery door just as two black knights arrive. They charge Charming, but even while protecting his newborn, he's one hell of a swordsman. Thwack, thwack, he takes him out. But in the melee, he's stabbed in the shoulder. Grunting and bleeding, he kicks open the door to the nursery. Charming stumbles toward the wardrobe. He unlocks the lock and gently places the baby inside, as Charming looks down at the baby and rubs his hand on her forehead.
Find us.
Then quickly, he closes the door, locks it, and faces the oncoming guards. The knights charge, and Charming is too wounded to dodge. He feebly attempts to parry their swords, but the first guard knocks it from his hands. The second runs him through. Charming falls over to the ground. The knights reach the wardrobe. They slash and slash at the wood, chopping at it until the doors fall off. and inside, the wardrobe is empty. The prince smiles, successful, his eyes closing, perhaps for the last time. Back to Storybrooke. Oops. A run-down wooden castle playset sits beside the shore. Henry sits at the edge as Emma climbs up to sit beside him with his book.
You left this in my car.
He takes it from her wordlessly.
Still hasn't moved, huh?
They stare out the clock tower, still stuck at 8:15.
I was hoping that when I brought you back, things would change here, that the final battle would begin.
I'm not fighting any battles, kid.
Yes, you are. You're here because it's your destiny. You're going to bring back the happy endings.
Can you cut it with the book crap?
You don't have to be hostile. I know you like me. I can tell you're just pushing me away because I make you feel guilty. It's okay. I know why you gave me away. You wanted to give me my best chance.
Emma's eyes sting with tears.
How do you know that?
It's the same reason Snow White gave you away.
Listen to me, kid. I am not in any book. I'm a real person and I'm no savior. You were right about one thing, though. I wanted you to have your best chance, but it's not with me. Come on, let's go.
Please don't take me back there. Just stay with me for 1 week. That's all I ask. 1 week, you'll see I'm not crazy.
I have to get back to your mom.
You don't know what it's like with her. My life sucks.
Oh, you want to know what sucking is? Being left abandoned on the side of a freeway. My parents didn't even bother to drop me at a hospital. I ended up in the foster system. And I had a family until I was 3, but then they had their own kids, so they sent me back. Look, your mom's trying her best. I know it's hard. And I know sometimes you think she doesn't love you, but at least she wants you.
Your parents didn't leave you on the side of the freeway. That's just where you came through.
What?
The wardrobe. When you went through the wardrobe, you appeared in the street. Your parents were trying to save you from the curse.
Sure they were. Come on, Henry.
She turns and he follows her, taking her hand. Back in Fairy Tale Land, Snow limps into the nursery and is greeted by a horrific sight. Amidst the rubble from the smashed wardrobe, Charming lies in the ground, barely breathing.
No, 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 no!
She hurries to his side and cradles his head in her lap. Tears run down her cheeks.
Please come back to me.
No response. She kisses him hard and looks down at him, hopeful, but there is no change. She kisses him again as footsteps approach.
Oh, don't worry, dear.
Snow looks up to see the queen entering, a malevolent look of satisfaction on her face.
In a few moments, you won't remember you knew him, let alone loved him.
Why did you do this?
Because this is my happy ending.
Before Snow can respond, the 2 black knights hurry back in.
The child?
Gone. It was in the wardrobe. Then it was gone. It's nowhere to be found.
The queen stares daggers at Snow.
Where is she?
She got away. You're going to lose. I know that now. Good will always win.
We'll see about that.
The mist surrounds the castle with flashes of lightning. The world around them begins to crack. The mist surrounds and envelops everyone, dematerializing them as a vortex swirls around them.
Where are we going?
Somewhere horrible. Absolutely horrible. A place where the only happy ending will be mine.
And with the blackness consumes them all. Cut back to Regina's house. Regina opens the door and Henry leaves Emma's side to run in the house past Regina.
Thank you.
No problem.
He seems to have taken quite a shine to you.
You know what's kind of crazy? Yesterday was my birthday, and when I blew out the candle on this cupcake I bought for myself, I actually made a wish that I didn't have to be alone on my birthday, and then Henry showed up.
I hope there's no misunderstanding here.
I'm sorry?
Don't mistake all this as an invitation back into his life.
Oh,
And Miss Swan, you made a decision 10 years ago. And in the last decade, while you've been, well, who knows what you've been doing? I've changed every diaper, soothed every fever, endured every tantrum. You may have given birth to him, but he is my son.
I was not.
No,
Trying-
no, you don't get to speak. You don't get to do anything. You gave up that right when you tossed him away. Do you know what a closed adoption is? It's what you asked for. You have no legal right to Henry, and you're going to be held to that. So I suggest you get in your car and you leave this town, because if you don't, I will destroy you if it is the last thing I do. Goodbye, Miss Swan.
Regina whirls around and strides to the front door.
Do you love him?
Excuse me?
Henry. Do you love him?
Of course I love him.
Emma just stares at her using her superpower. Whatever Emma saw, she's keeping to herself. Regina slams the door behind her. Upstairs, Regina glances down at Henry lying in his bed. She holds the storybook tightly. She hurries downstairs and looks at the thick book in her hand and grimaces. Across town in the hospital, Mary Margaret makes her way through a ward of patients, placing small vases of flowers on their nightstands. She reaches the final patient, a comatose man with a wristband identifying him as John Doe. She places his flowers, then leaves. It is then that we see that this man is her Prince Charming. In his room, Henry looks out the window at the clock tower. Emma makes her way through a small wooded area to Granny's bed and breakfast. She enters and a fight is in progress.
You're out all night and now you're going out again?
I should have moved to Boston.
The red-haired 20-something girl, Ruby, saunters down the stairs, followed by her elderly relative and the proprietor of this establishment, Granny.
Yeah, I'm sorry that my heart attack interfered with your plans to sleep your way down the eastern seaboard.
Excuse me. I'd like a room.
Really?
She eagerly bustles behind the counter.
Would you like a forest view or a square view? Normally there's an upgrade for the square, but as rent is due, I'll waive it.
A square's fine.
Now, what's the name?
Swan. Emma Swan.
Padmini?
Emma.
Emma is startled by a man almost magically appearing behind her. Mr. Gold is dressed in a fine suit, almost handsome, but we recognize him as Rumpelstiltskin.
What a lovely name.
Thanks.
Granny snatches a roll of money and hands it to Mr. Gold, scowling.
It's all here.
Yes, of course it is, dear. Thank you. You enjoy your stay, Emma.
He turns and leaves ominously.
Who's that?
Mr. Gold, he owns this place.
The inn?
No, the town. So, how long will you be with us?
A week. Just a week.
Great.
She grabs a key and passes it to Emma.
Welcome to Storybrooke.
As soon as Emma's fingers touch the key, the clock hand moves. Henry smiles. End of episode 1. Do you want to take a little break, or are we good? We can. This is a natural pausing point if anyone wants one.
I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm fine.
All right, let's keep reading then.
Episode 3, Snow Falls. Open on a wide carriage traveling through the enchanted woods of Fairy Tale Land, inside, Charming peers out the window.
What do you think of the view, my dear?
His fiancée, Princess Abigail, sits across from him, fanning herself rapidly.
I've seen better. This is taking forever. I told you the troll road would have been quicker and far less bumpy.
Prince Charming takes a bag of jewelry in his lap and gazes at it. Abigail gazes at the box and then at him.
Are you even listening to me?
Yes, of course I am.
Coach.
Whoa, whoa.
Carriage horses neigh as they draw to a halt.
Now what?
The carriage stops. The prince gets out to investigate, leaving behind the bag on the seat. A large tree trunk lays across the path ahead.
Worry not. It's but a fallen tree. Fellas, shall we?
Prince Charming examines the end of the tree, and then a cloaked figure lands on top of the carriage, which startles Abigail inside. Prince Charming continues to assess the marks on the tree.
My lord, what is that?
These markings. This tree didn't fall. It's been cut. It's an ambush.
The cloaked figure reaches into the open carriage door and grabs the bag on the seat. Abigail screams at the intrusion, and Prince Charming rushes back.
Sir,
Ah! Guards! Stop! Thief! Help me!
The thief mounts a horse and makes a getaway. Prince Charming mounts a horse as well and chases after the thief. As he passes by the carriage, Abigail looks out the door at the commotion.
oh,
Prin-
Oh, there we go. Sorry.
Prin-
A little bit more there at the bottom, Vicky. Sorry.
Charming manages to catch up to the thief, and when his horse speeds up to align with the other horse, he forces the thief from the horse to the ground. He falls and gets up to stand over the thief.
Show your face, you coward.
Prince Charming flips the thief over and prepares his fist to punch. He stops, and the anger melts from his face to show dazed surprise.
You're a girl.
Woman.
Grabbing a rock, she hits Prince Charming in the face with it. He sprawls to the side in pain. She gets back onto her horse and rides off. Prince Charming gets up, his chin bloodstained, and yells at the thief.
You can't hide from me. Whoever you are, I will find you.
The thief turns to flash him a satisfied smirk as she gets away. Prince Charming shoots her an irritated look. Back in Storybrooke, Dr. Whale and Mary Margaret are on a date at Granny's diner.
Where were we? Something about you wanting 15 kids.
Oh no, good Lord, no. I meant in my class where I teach. You'll meet them tomorrow.
Dr. Whale nods in understanding, and then, as she continues to speak, his gaze drifts to the person behind her. Ruby is clearing tables in the background, and he is scantily clad in a white shirt, showing her midriff with a red miniskirt and high heels.
They're coming to the hospital as part of the volunteer outreach program.
Ruby moves to another table, almost directly behind Mary Margaret. He quickly shifts his eyes back in time to respond.
Oh, yeah. That is a great program.
Dr. Whale tries to remain focused as she speaks, but keeps quickly glancing back at Ruby.
I mean, obviously, I don't want 15 kids of my own. I mean, not that I don't want kids. I do.
He loses interest in the conversation, and now his gaze is fixed on what is behind Mary Margaret.
I want kids, marriage, true love. I want it all. But that, of course, is...
She notices Dr. Whale is not paying attention to her. Slowly, she turns her head to see him ogling Ruby, who has finished cleaning the table and carries a tray as she passes them.
wildly inappropriate for me to discuss on a first date. Ruby?
Yes, Mary Margaret?
Check, please.
Later, Mary Margaret walks down the street after her disaster date. She stops and stares ahead, noticing a familiar face. Mary Margaret approaches a car, and inside sits Emma, reading the newspaper with a flashlight.
Hey, you okay?
Oh, in the world of tight spots I've been in, crashing in my car doesn't even rank in the top 10.
You're sleeping here?
Till I find a place.
You decided to stay for Henry.
Yeah, I guess. This town doesn't seem to have any vacancies. None, actually. Is that normal?
Emma climbs out of her car.
It must be the curse.
Why are you out so late?
Well, I'm a teacher, not a nun. I had a date.
Oh, from the looks of things, it went well.
As well as they ever do.
Tell me at least he paid.
Mhm.
Ew.
Well, I guess if true love was easy, we'd all have it. You know, if things get cramped, I do have a spare room.
Thanks. I'm not really the roommate type. It's just not my thing. I do better on my own.
Well, good night. Good luck with Henry.
Yeah.
Mary Margaret walks away as Emma gazes after her. The next day at the town hospital, the kids from Mary Margaret's class are around, hanging decorations. Mary Margaret notices Henry in the ICU unit at John Doe's bedside. He reaches to touch the man's face when Mary Margaret walks in.
Oh, Henry, we could really use your help with the decorations.
Is Mr. Doe going to be okay, Miss Blankard?
His name's not John Doe, honey. That's just what they call people when they don't know who they are.
Do you know who he is?
Nope, I just bring him flowers on my rounds.
What's wrong with him?
I don't know. He's been like this as long as I've been volunteering.
Does he have any family or friends?
No one's claimed him.
So he's all alone?
Yeah, it's quite sad.
You sure you don't know him?
Of course, I'm sure. Come on, you shouldn't be in here.
They exit the ICU as Henry steals a glance back. The camera focuses on John Doe's face. He bears the same scar on his chin as Prince Charming. That afternoon, Emma and Henry are at the playground near the shore. Henry shows Emma an illustration in his storybook of Prince Charming with the visible scar on his face.
I found your father, Prince Charming.
Henry.
He's in the hospital in a coma. See the scar? He has one too.
He points it out in the book.
So, lots of people have scars.
In the same place? Don't you see what this means? The curse is keeping them apart with the coma. Now they're stuck without each other. We have to tell Miss Blankard we found her Prince Charming.
Okay, kid. Telling someone their soulmate is in a coma is probably not helpful. Not having a happy ending is painful enough, but giving someone unrealistic hope is far worse.
But what if I'm right? We know who they are. Now they have to know.
And how do you intend to make this happen?
By reminding him. We have to get her to read their story to John Doe. Then maybe he'll remember who he is.
She takes a deep breath to contemplate his plea.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, we'll do it. But we'll do it my way. Let me ask her.
In her apartment, Mary Margaret makes cocoa for herself and Emma.
You want me to read to a coma patient?
Henry thinks it will help him remember who he was.
Oh, and who does he think he was?
Prince Charming?
No. Oh, and if I'm Snow White, he thinks me and him?
He has a very active imagination, which is the point. I can't talk him out of his beliefs, so we need to show him. Play along, do what he says, and then maybe, just maybe...
He'll see that fairy tales are just that there's no such thing as love at first sight or first kiss. He'll see reality.
Something like that.
Well, sadly, this plan is rather genius. We get him to the truth without hurting him.
I told him that we will all meet tomorrow for breakfast at Granny's, and you will give a full report.
She passes Henry's book to Mary Margaret.
Well, I suppose I'll get ready for my date. I guess I'll have to do all the talking.
That night at the hospital, Mary Margaret sits with John Doe in his room. She opens Henry's storybook.
Look, I know this is odd, but I'm doing it for a friend. So please, just bear with me. As the prince chased the thief on horseback through the treacherous forest, his betrothed crossed her arms and pouted, wondering how many dreadful, boring minutes it would take until they could resume their journey again. The thief vaulted over a fallen.
The scene transitions to show the passage of time.
They didn't need words to express what they felt in their hearts, for it was here, in the shadow of the Troll Bridge, that their love was born, where they knew no matter how they were separated, they would always.
While unconscious, John Doe reaches out and grabs her hand. A shocked Mary Margaret looks at him, but he is not awakened. Moments later, Dr. Whale and Mary Margaret walk back into John Doe's room.
No, I'm sure he's waking up. He grabbed my hand.
Dr. Whale checks his machines.
Everything's steady, the same it's always been. What were you doing in here?
Oh, I was just reading him a story.
Oh, well, perhaps you dozed off. Perhaps you imagined it.
No, I didn't imagine anything.
Miss Blanchard, I can only tell you what I see, which is nothing. Sometimes there are minor fluctuations in readings. Perhaps you heard the machine register something and misunderstood. Look, why don't you go home? Get some rest. If anything changes, I'll call you, okay?
Mary Margaret grabs a book and leaves. Dr. Whale pulls out his cell phone. Regina answers. Yes?
It's Dr. Will. You told me to call you if there were ever any change in a John Doe. Something's happened.
What?
One of our volunteers said he grabbed her, and there was a slight fluctuation in brain activity.
And who was this volunteer?
Mary Margaret Blanchard.
Furious, Regina hangs up the phone. In her apartment, Mary Margaret sits on her bed, flipping through the book. The illustration of Snow White zooms into the enchanted forest. The thief who previously stole Prince Charming's jewels gathers various things and puts them into a bag. Also, she puts a necklace with a bottle around her neck. She slings the bag over her shoulder and heads outside to walk a short distance before being caught in a net. Prince Charming comes out of hiding, laughing.
I told you I'd find you. No matter what you do, I will always find you.
Is this the only way you can catch a woman? By entrapping her?
Aha! It's the only way to catch a thieving scum.
Well, aren't you a real Prince Charming?
I have a name, you know.
I don't care. Charming suits you. Now cut me down, Charming.
I'll release you when you return the leather pouch you stole with my jewels.
Not the jewelry type.
Indeed. I noticed.
What is that supposed to mean? Are you insulting me?
Oh, quite right. My apologies. How dare I cast aspirations at the person who robbed me? Where are my jewels?
I sold them.
What?
What do you care? Don't you have a palace full of treasures somewhere?
These were special. Among them was a ring that belonged to my mother. A ring I was about to give.
To the nag with the bad attitude? Is that what this is all about?
She's my fiance.
Good luck with that. You must be getting something impressive to agree to that union.
Excuse me?
Look, I know how this works. True love? It doesn't exist. It's all arranged marriages and business transactions. There is no such thing as love at first sight or first kiss. Let me guess. Her kingdom wants to take over yours, and this is, what, a last-ditch effort to avoid war?
This is not a takeover. It's a merger. And quite frankly, it's none of your business. Now, this is what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to cut you down, and you will take me to whoever has my jewels. And then you're going to get my ring back.
Mm-mm. Why would I do that?
Because you don't want me to tell anyone who you really are.
He takes out a piece of paper. It's a wanted poster for Snow White.
Snow White. I'm gonna get my ring back, or I turn you over to the Queen's forces. And I have a feeling the Queen's not as charming as I am.
Well, I wouldn't want to stand in the way of your getting true love.
Prince Charming cuts her down from the net. The next morning in Storybrooke, Henry and Emma are sitting in the diner.
Thanks for the shirt. Hey, is this your mother's?
You'll never notice.
Where does she think you are anyway?
Playing whack-a-mole.
And she
Whack-a-mole.
bought that?
She wants to believe it, so she does.
Oh, imagine that.
Mary Margaret enters the diner.
She's here.
Hey, don't get your hopes up. We're just getting started, okay?
Mary Margaret slides into the booth beside Henry.
He woke up.
What?
I knew it.
I mean, he didn't wake up, but he grabbed my hand.
He's remembering.
What did the doctor say?
That I imagined it. But I'm not crazy. I know it happened.
We have to go back. You have to read to him again.
Let's go.
Wait, what?
If I got through to him, if we made a connection.
You don't believe that?
That he's Prince Charming? Of course not. Somehow, some way, I touched him.
Emma, Henry, and Mary Margaret hurry from the diner to the hospital.
You're right, he's waking up.
Henry, you should stay back.
Wait, what's going on? Is it John Doe? Is he okay?
He's missing.
The three notice that Regina is in John Doe's room beside an empty bed. Regina sees them and approaches. Who the hell are you? What are you doing here? And you, I thought you were at the arcade. Oh, now you're lying to me?
What happened to John Doe? Did someone take him?
We don't know that yet. His IVs were ripped out, but there's no sign for sure that there was a struggle.
What did you do?
You think I had something to do with this?
It is curious that the mayor is here.
I'm here because I'm his emergency contact.
You know him?
I found him on the side of the road years ago with no ID. I brought him here.
Mayor Mills saved his life.
Will he be okay?
Okay. The man's been on feeding tubes for years on constant supervision. He needs to get back here right away. Or, quite honestly, okay might be a pipe dream.
Well then, let's quit yapping and start looking.
That's what we're doing. Oh, just stay out of this, dear. And since I clearly can't keep you away from my son, I guess I'm just going to have to keep my son away from you. Enjoy my shirt, because that's all you're getting. Sheriff, find John Doe. You heard Dr. Whale. Time is precious. Regina and Henry leave.
Doctor, how long between your rounds since you last saw him? 12 hours or so. Well then, that's what we need to account for.
Everyone heads to the security room. Walter, the hospital security guard, and Leroy, the hospital janitor, are both there.
You two are the only employees on the floor last night, and you saw nothing. That a thing?
Did anyone walk by?
I didn't see nothing.
Miss Blanchard, was there anything unusual you saw during your trip with your class?
I don't think so.
We're looking at the wrong tape. This is the ward where Henry's class put up decorations. If this were really the tape from last night, we'd see the banners the kids hung.
You fell asleep again.
You selling me out?
I ain't getting fired for this.
At least I don't drink on the job. Gentlemen enough. Where's the real tape?
The tape is switched. They see John Doe get up and walk out the door.
He walked out alone. He's okay.
4 hours ago. Where does this door lead?
The woods.
The enchanted forest. Prince Charming and Snow White are traveling through. He notices a necklace around her neck with some kind of substance in a glass pouch.
I thought you weren't the jewelry type. What's that around your neck?
Don't worry about it.
Prince Charming takes a necklace from her neck.
Careful, it's a weapon.
Dust? What kind of weapon is dust?
Fairy dust.
I thought that was a good thing.
When it comes from a good fairy, this stuff is deadly. It transforms the most fearsome of adversaries into a form that's easily squashed.
Then why didn't you use it on me?
Because you're not worth it.
Oh.
It's very hard to come by. I'm saving it for a special someone.
Ah, the Queen. You got a lot of anger there, don't you, Snow?
The charges on her posters are lies. It didn't stop her from sending her huntsman to rip out my heart.
What happened?
Well, not everyone is a soulless royal. He took pity on me and let me go. I've been hiding in the forest ever since, trying to amass enough fortune to leave this place and escape to another realm somewhere isolated where I could never be hurt.
Sounds lonely.
No lonelier than an arranged marriage.
At least I don't prey on the innocent.
Up until now, I've only ever stolen from the Queen. I thought your carriage was one of hers. No one else ever uses that road.
I took the scenic route.
Well, lucky for me. All I'm doing, Charming, is what it takes to survive. She wants me dead.
So, what did you incur that much wrath? Or what did you do to incur that much wrath?
She blames me for ruining her life.
Did you?
Yes,
They continue on until they come to a river.
I'm thirsty. May I?
Sure. Make it quick.
They both take a drink from the river. While Prince Charming has his back turned, Snow White hits him and then pushes him into the river. She digs through the bag to find the pouch. Snow White runs back into the forest until she gets to the road. There, she encounters the evil Queen's guards. They surround her.
Look who we found. There's nowhere to hide. The Queen wants your heart. And we're not going to disappoint her.
Storybrooke Wilderness Park. Emma, Graham, and Mary Margaret search for John Doe.
What is it?
The trailer runs out here.
You sure? Because I thought tracking was one of your skills.
Just give me a second. This is my world. I got it.
Right. Sorry.
What does he mean, his world? Isn't finding people your thing too?
Oh, sure. Just people I find usually find running places like Vegas. Not a lot hit the woods.
That's an interesting job, finding people. How'd you fall into it?
Looking for people is just what I've done, as long as I can remember.
What made you start? Your parents? Henry told me that you were from a similar situation to his own. Did you ever find them?
It depends who you ask.
They hear a crack behind them. They turn around as Henry runs down a hill.
Henry!
Did you find him yet?
No, not yet. You shouldn't be here.
I can help. I know where he's going.
Oh, and where is that?
He's looking for you.
The enchanted forest. Snow White is slammed against a tree by a guard. Another guard takes out a dagger and approaches her.
Hold her still.
The guard raises the dagger above Snow White's chest, but is suddenly hit a knife from behind and collapses. Prince Charming emerges from behind a tree and begins a fight with the other guard. Snow White runs towards the fallen guard's horse, which has a weapon, but she is grabbed by another guard on horseback. Prince Charming defeats the guard he was fighting and then notices the retreating guard and Snow White. He takes a bow and an arrow and shoots the guard off the horse. Prince Charming emerges from behind a tree and begins a fight with the other guard. Snow White runs towards the fallen guard's horse, which has a weapon, but she is grabbed by another guard on horseback. Prince Charming defeats the guard he was fighting and then notices the retreating guard and Snow White. He takes a bow and arrow and shoots the guard off the horse.
Are you all right?
You saved me.
Seemed like the honorable thing to do. Are you ready?
For what?
My jewels.
Oh, right. You've got a wedding to get to. Yeah,
Mhm.
the trolls I sold them to are just beyond the next ridge. We need to be careful.
What? Of trolls?
You've clearly never met one.
Aren't they just little people?
No, you're thinking of dwarves. Show a little respect. They'll cut your hand off sooner than they'll shake it.
Well, let's get this over then.
Yes, we've both got places to be, so let's go.
Mm. You have your lonely little corner of solitude to find?
And you have a ringless fiancé to appease.
Storybook. In the woods, Emma, Graham, Henry, and Mary Margaret, and still they're searching for John Doe.
You're the one who woke him up. You're the last one he saw. He wants to find you.
Henry, it's not about me. I think he's lost and confused. He's been in a coma a long time.
But he loves you. You need to stop chasing him and let him find you.
Kid, you need to go home. Where's your mom? She's gonna kill me, and then you, and then me again.
She dropped me at the house, then went right out.
Well, we need to get you back immediately.
No!
Guys!
He shows them John Doe's bloody hospital bracelet.
Is that
Blood?
The enchanted forest. Prince Charming and Snow White come to a bridge on horseback. They get off, and Snow White sends the horse away.
trolls don't like horses? We walk from here. Follow me and keep quiet.
Where are they?
Oh, they're here.
She leaves a pile of gold coins on the edge of the bridge. Several trolls then climb up the side of the bridge.
It's fine, I know them.
Why are you here? I thought we were done.
I want to make another trade.
I'm not talking in front of him. Who's this guy?
No, he's with me.
Oh, that's good. With you, that makes it all fine.
Wait, he's no one. Look, I want to buy back the jewels I sold you.
Who is he?
I said don't worry about it. Look, I'll give you back all your money. Just give me the ring. You can keep everything else.
Another troll takes out the pouch and goes to give it to Prince Charming.
Thank you. We appreciate the help.
He's too eager. This is a setup.
It's not.
He's a royal.
The troll grabs Snow White. Prince Charming draws his sword.
Let her go!
No, you can trust me. Look, you can trust me. If I wanted to set you up, I would have done it the first time.
The time for dealing is done. Seize him.
The trolls check Prince Charming's bag and pat him down. They take the necklace of fairy dust and throw it aside. They find they want the wanted poster for Snow White.
Snow White, quite a reward. Take her.
The prince picks his sword off the ground and attacks the trolls. Snow White gets away.
Go! I'm right behind you.
Snow White runs, but grabs the fairy dust on the way. Prince Charming fights off the trolls and manages to kick one off the bridge. A troll trips Prince Charming and the other drags him back. Snow White doesn't notice and continues to flee towards a safe distance.
Follow me. They don't know the forest like I do.
She turns to look around. The trolls still have the prince, and they're about to kill Prince Charming.
Royal blood is the sweetest of all.
Snow White uses the fairy dust to transform the trolls into bugs.
You saved me.
The honorable thing to do.
What about your special someone?
I'll think of something else.
Oh, thank you.
Anyway, how could I let Prince Charming die?
I told you. I have a name. It's James.
It's nice to meet you, James. We should go. There may be more of them coming.
Storybrooke. The four are still combing the woods. They come to the troll bridge.
Where is he? Can you see him?
The trail dies at the water line.
They spot John Doe lying in the water.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
I need an ambulance at the old Total Bridge as soon as possible.
Emma, Graham, and Mary Margaret drag John Doe to the shore.
No, 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 I found you!
It's going to be okay.
Help's coming.
Is he okay?
Henry,
Is he going to be okay?
Henry, don't look, okay? Don't look.
Come back to us, come back to me.
She starts CPR, and when she puts her mouth on his, he starts breathing again and coughs up water.
You saved me.
She did it. She did it. She woke him up.
Yeah, kids, she did.
Thank you.
Who are you?
I don't know.
Oh, it's okay. You're going to be okay.
The town hospital. John Doe is brought in for recovery.
Watch your back coming through.
We got it from here.
The four watch through the outside glass door as he is being treated by doctors. Catherine, his wife, bursts into the room where John Doe is being treated and rushes to his side.
Oh, David! David, is that you?
Excuse me, ma'am?
Oh my God!
Ma'am, you can't be in here, please. You can't be in here right now.
David!
You can't be in here, ma'am. Can you wait over there for a second, okay?
Who is that?
Regina walks up behind him. His wife? The enchanted forest, Snow White and Prince Charming are walking through the forest.
So, well, you probably want this.
Oh, right, the gold, thank you. And, you can't get married without this.
She gives him back the pouch with the jewels and the ring. He takes out the ring.
I know. Not your style.
Well, there's only one way to find out.
She tries on the ring.
Oh, yeah, not me at all. I'm sure your fiance will love it.
She gives the ring back.
Yeah. If you need more, you can have the rest. The ring is all I require.
Oh, no, I'm good, thanks. We both got what we wanted.
Well, wherever you're going, be careful. If you need anything,
You'll find me.
always.
I almost believe that.
Well, goodbye, Snow White.
Goodbye, Prince Charming.
I told you, it's James.
Nah, still liking Charming better.
Snow White and Prince Charming part ways. The town hospital. Catherine and David are in the room together. Emma, Henry, Mary Margaret, and Regina are outside David's room. His name is David Nolan, and that's his wife, Catherine. And the joy on her face, well, it's put me in quite the forgiving mood. We'll talk about your insubordination later. Do you know what insubordination means? I mean, it means you're grounded. Catherine exits David's room.
Thank you. Thank you for finding my David.
I don't understand. You didn't know that he was here in a coma?
A few years ago, David and I were not getting along. It was my fault. I know that now. I was difficult and unsupportive. I told him if he didn't like things, he could leave, and he did. And I didn't stop him, and it was the worst mistake I ever made.
You didn't go look for him?
I assumed he'd left town all this time, and now I know why I had never heard from him. Now I get to do what I've wanted to do forever. Say I'm sorry. Now I get a second chance.
That's wonderful.
Dr. Whale enters.
Well, it's something of a miracle.
He's okay?
Physically, he's on the mend. His memory is another issue. May take time, but at all, if at all.
What brought him back?
That's the thing. There's no explanation. Something just clicked in him.
He just got up and decided to go for a stroll?
He woke up and he was delirious, and his first instinct was to find something, I guess.
Someone?
Oh, can I see him?
Yeah, of course.
Catherine goes back into David's room. Henry, let's go.
Wait, my backpack.
He goes back to grab his backpack and whispers to Mary Margaret.
Don't believe them. You're the one he was looking for.
Henry.
He was going to the troll bridge. It's like the end of the story.
Henry, he was going there because it's the last thing I read to him.
No, it's because you belong together.
Henry? She and Henry leave. Emma catches up to Regina and Henry, who are at the entrance of the hospital.
Madam Mayor.
Wait by the car. Henry leaves the two alone. Miss Swan, I let you off the hook back there. Don't press it.
No, I'm sorry, but Mrs. Nolan kind of feels like her story could be a load of crap. All this time, there's a John Doe lying in a coma and nobody puts it in the news. Nobody goes looking. Something's not right here.
Well, what else would make sense to you? I mean, why would Miss Nolan lie? Do you think I cast a spell on her?
I think it's rather strange you've been his emergency contact all these years and you only found her now.
Well, this town is bigger than you know. It's entirely possible to get lost here. It's entirely possible for bad things to happen.
And just when it's convenient, you managed to solve the mystery.
Well, thanks to you. That tape you found was a stroke of genius. So we went back and looked at past tapes. Turns out Mr. Doe's been talking in his sleep. He's been calling out for Catherine. After that, it wasn't hard to put the pieces together. And here I thought you were Mary Margaret. You and Mary Margaret would be pleased. True love won out. So bask in the moment, dear. Were it not for you two, they would have lived their lives completely alone. That's why I'm willing to forgive your incessant rudeness. Because all this has reminded me of something oh so very important. How grateful I am to have Henry. Because not having someone, well, that's just the worst curse imaginable. The town hospital. Mary Margaret watches David and Catherine hug in his room. She looks down at her hand and distractedly fiddles with her ring. Later, Mary Margaret is sitting at home. There's a knock on the door.
Emma.
Sorry to bother you so late. Is that spare room still available?
Mary Margaret nods and lets Emma in. End of episode 3.
Yay! Good job, everybody. That was
Lovely
fun.
meeting you all. That was fun.
It's fun. I do really like the beginning. These beginning seasons are so good.
Yeah.
Like
I stopped watching it maybe like, I don't even know. Like it just petered out. Like I was like, it's going to go somewhere really interesting. No, it's not. But, like,
yeah,
the
I think they were like the ideas that they had. I think Disney bought them out of their season 3 or season 4. Might have been earlier than that. Might have been season 2, season 3. But it seemed like they had all these interesting starts to these ideas, and then they just dropped a bunch of them, like Dr. Whale being Dr. Frankenstein. I just think they're so interesting.
Padmini, did you have something to say? I thought I saw you raising your hand.
Thank you. You wrote it too. I was wondering if we're reading other episodes.
Not of this script. We'll be going on to a film next, which will be Willow parts, and we'll do it.
I meant, could we read other episodes of Once Upon a Time?
We could if I had other scripts.
I
This
see.
is the only
Thank
script
you.
that I have.
Thank you. Good night.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then I think we'll do Fargo after that for the television because that
Thank
took
you.
second place in our poll. So Willow and Fargo will be our next 2 up.
Awesome. I didn't even see the poll. Didn't even see it. But I'm gonna take a look at those scripts you sent me so I can
Okay.
tell you which one is like the best one to read, because I know all of them. There's some really good ones.
Yeah, another thing about Once Upon a Time is that this is, I don't know if everybody knows this, but this is one of those cute situations where two leads fall in love and get married. So,
Actual real
because
life, you mean?
literally,
Yeah, in
the
real life.
actress Snow White and Prince
Aw.
Charming got married in real life. So, like, they
And they're
met on
still
the set.
together. Yeah,
I
they're still
believe so.
together too.
Yes,
I
they
think
have
so.
kids and super happy and adorable.
Oh,
And
that's
it's
sweet.
very
Of course they're
cute.
still together. It was true love.
It really was. Yeah,
That's the whole point.
It's a great
that was
story.
so cute.
Well, they
Yeah,
must
it
have
is.
cast
It's
it
very
well.
nice.
Yeah. I really was really into the show. I did watch it all the way to the end, and it's interesting because there's like some episodes in the later seasons that are really good, and there's somewhere like, oh my gosh, this is awful. It like, I don't want to like spoil it for anyone, but there's like moments where I really don't like that. I was just like, that could have been so good. Where did you go with it? And then they brought somebody else in,
Mhm.
and I was like, oh, you're just continuing that plot line with this other character. Okay, cool.
Yeah, well, there was a lot of really dark, like, again, it's been years since I've seen it, but like, I remember a lot of really dark stuff happening. Like,
In the first
doesn't like,
two seasons, especially.
yeah, like, isn't there like super dark stuff with Cinderella and like the laundromat that I'm remembering? And like,
There's some of that, yeah. There's
Little Red
some
Riding
Belle's
Hood.
dark, yep, Little Red Riding,
Yeah.
darkness
Oh,
stuff.
creepy.
very
That
dark.
was-
Lord
That
Riding
episode
Hood.
that episode was so good with her, and then they just dropped her story.
I
And I
know.
was like, this was so good.
That's how I felt with Dr. Frankenstein. Like I was like, this is such a good episode, and then you just drop him. You never. It's like what? This could have gone somewhere. It was so good.
And I just looking when I was just reviewing it yesterday, like looking back at IMDb and stuff, like it's one of those situations where, it started in 2011 and then you get this like real weird, interesting trajectory of a lot of people who become really famous, getting
Mhm.
like bits in the show in early seasons, and then it's like sometimes the story suffers because they get too big and they leave, and you're not quite sure why that happens, and then sometimes it's just like, oh, okay, Oscar nominee Sebastian Stan was the Mad Hatter. I didn't remember that.
Right? Oh my gosh, there's so many moments. Yeah, like I really liked Graham. Graham became
Yeah,
one
and
of
they
my
don't
favorite
like,
characters,
doesn't
and
Jamie
then nothing
Dornan
happens
just
with him.
leaves? And because I was trying to
Yes!
remember, I was like, somebody, and and he's just gone. Like,
And
it's like they
gone.
come on and it's like this like heat with like him and Emma, and then like
Yes.
just
And
done,
then he's
and
dead.
then like suddenly
You're
they
like,
bring
what
on what's
happened?
his face, and
Oh,
that became
Hook.
her true love. And
Though Hook is like one of my favorite characters too.
okay, yeah, that was around the time I stopped watching it. Sorry.
Oh, Hook gets
He's great.
the Hook actually makes the series again. Seriously, he
Okay.
makes he honestly like becomes such a driving force in the series, and he's
Mhm.
so like magnetic. It's great. Like
Mhm.
I actually really like what they did with his character and everything, and I would say go back and give it a watch, give him a
Okay.
chance. I do love what they do with Peter Pan's story. I thought that was really interesting. I don't want to give any spoilers, obviously.
I don't remember that one at all. I watched the whole thing, but I don't remember that one.
You don't remember Peter Pan's story where they're in
No.
Neverland and
No.
it's dark. It's so dark.
Maybe I blocked it out. Or I was probably watching it while I was in grad school. My memory's like not real good, like those couple of years.
He needs to get the heart of the true believer, and that's all I'm saying. It gets dark.
Sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yeah,
I loved Regina. Like
I loved her too.
She was 100% like I say, Emma's my favorite. Really, Regina was my favorite, and I loved like when they really went like for her just being like super literal, like she was like tearing people's hearts out. Like,
Well, I
from
love
their
her.
chest.
I
It's
love
like,
her her arc. Her arc is really interesting.
Yeah.
Also, she's got some really interesting parts, like her and Robin. I love that whole thing for her.
that was
Oh.
how I stepped up.
Oh my gosh, there's this whole thing. I mean, it's tragic. It's really sad. There's moments where like that made me cry. I don't know, Annie, what do you think about that whole thing with Robin? I really liked Robin. I was a big Robin fan.
He's like only a vague memory for me too.
Oh, it's so funny. Maybe the last. I mean, but there are ones where the last episodes really were not that great, though. To be fair,
Yeah,
I don't know.
Well, I
I don't know
also
why I don't remember him too.
Like the
I
Wicked
went
Witch of the
into-
West. That was weird.
Oh yeah,
I went
that
into the show
was-
as a big Robert Carlyle fan, and so like at first I was like just in love, but I felt like they
Oh,
sort
Robert
of
Carlyle.
started doing
Gold.
that thing where it was like he was so good that they were like, oh, let's just have him do the same scene in every circumstance and just magically appear and be this looming thing.
He
And
does chew up
like,
the scenery a lot. It's true.
yeah. And then I was kind of disappointed with when Belle came in, and
Oh
I
my
was
God, that
excited for it, and it
I
didn't,
hated that so much.
did not work.
I
See,
still,
I
it
haven't.
makes me so angry. I was like,
Yeah.
no, women should not stand for being treated like this. This is an abusive relationship. Get yourself out. I don't
Yeah.
care that it's a fairy tale.
So
Like, this
I
is a
have.
bad
But it was
example
supposed to
of
be
women.
because he's so interesting, and
Well,
Mm-mm.
I had such mixed
No.
feelings, right? I had
Yeah.
such mixed feelings about that. I agreed. And then they have Gaston come in. He just turns him into like a rose to give it to her. And I was like, he actually seems like a really cool guy. What happened? And then, of course, they have this later episode where it's like reveals, no, really, he's a bad guy. He's truly a dick. It's like, wait a second. That's not how. So you're just trying to say, oh, no, he really was a bad guy all along. It was so weird. I had such weird feelings about that. I was like,
yeah.
wait,
And
what?
I wasn't watching it like, because I know like Emma becomes like dark Emma. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, there's a moment of Dark Emma. It's a thing.
Okay.
Dark Emma happens.
Sure.
It's weird. That's one of those that's actually one of the seasons I really didn't care for at all. Like it did lose me. The Arthur story where Arthur really is the villain the whole time. I did not like that one.
Wait.
What's interesting, you guys talk about the lightness and the darkness, because I was just taking a look here at some quotes from the writers,
Mhm.
Edward Kitsis and Adam Horowitz. They were also the same ones that worked on Lost and Tron Legacy.
Mhm.
And they said that the whole purpose of this particular show was to do a show that had optimism at its heart, because they felt there was
Yes.
so much darkness in the world. And we are guys who like to see the world as half empty or half full and not half empty. And it's all about seeing the trials and tribulations of life. You can persevere and find light amongst the darkness, and your life will get better. So it's interesting to see as the show goes on that it tends to get darker. Maybe it's the whole Dark for the Dawn. I don't know if these same writers kept writing through all 7 seasons or not, but it certainly started off with the whole optimism bit at the beginning.
I mean, that's
It
still
is.
good.
It's true.
It's
Yeah.
like it's always darkest before the dawn kind of thing.
Mhm. I mean, they
Yeah.
have. What I do love is that a lot of the villains that they have, they really flesh out them and be like, well, from this perspective, they're not necessarily
Yeah.
evil.
And I
Like
feel like
Regina's not a completely
Like
evil
Regina.
character, for
Yeah.
instance.
Regina being like the
I
number
I
one.
love her. I love her redemption.
Yeah.
I thought
do
they did her
too.
redemption story so well. Like she's
Yeah.
probably one of the best villain redemption stories I've ever seen.
And I feel like this show was one of the first times that it became a trope,
Really saw
right? Of
it.
like
Yes.
showing the villain side of the story. But this was like the
Mhm.
first time that this was done and done well.
And
Mhm.
yeah, and I love that they actually showed her evolution, her true love really is her son. And it's funny because you see in this episode when Emma
I didn't
asks,
want to
does she
spoil it
really
by
love
saying, like,
Henry?
oh, I remember. Yeah, the true love, Henry.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I spoil it
Yeah.
for anybody.
Yeah,
I mean, but
yeah,
it's been
there's-
over for a while, so
Yeah,
go watch it.
It's fine.
Go watch the
been
series.
off for
But
like 9 years, whatever.
yeah, it's been on for 9 years. So if you haven't seen
Yeah.
it by now, I'm so sorry, but go
It
watch
looks
it.
like
Yeah.
2011 to 2018.
Something like
when it
that. I
aired.
don't know.
Yeah. I can't believe it's
Yeah,
so
no,
long.
but like, I mean, she's, yeah, like, she
But-
really, like, it's interesting when you get, that was interesting, that I
Wonderful
was
true
thinking
loves.
about
I'm
exactly
sorry,
what you're
wonderful
saying,
true
Aubrey,
loves.
because when, you know, in, getting to see the bit in the at the end of the pilot where, or no, I guess it's the end of episode 3.
In the
she's
first
like, "You love
episode,
him."
yeah.
And she says yes, and the script specifies that Emma does not give away whether or not she's, you know, used her superpower to tell if she's lying or not. And that was really, because that's such like the biggest thing, is that how her love for Henry changes everything about who she is in relationship to all these other people. And then in turn, like this storybook world and how they change without having somebody who's complex instead of just evil be like responsible. So I don't know, it's really interesting. It just kind of like, it's kind of like Lost. Like it was almost great, and then it just started getting weird.
Way
It's like they-
quicker.
yeah. Well, I mean, as I said, I think the first 2 episodes were just by NBC. I think it's NBC or ABC. I think it's ABC. And then
it's
Disney
ABC,
bought
yeah.
it. and then there was a really stark change. I think they had a hand in it, but then I think they kind of took over production, if I remember correctly, because there was a drastic change. Like you really noticed everything got really Disneyfied after that, after a certain point. Like they were kind of trying to lean more heavily into the older versions of the stories, like more of the older version of, for instance, The Little Mermaid. They had Dr. Frankenstein. It wasn't just fairy tale it wasn't just like the Disney characters. So, which is fascinating. And then you just saw that stark change where it's like, oh no, we're just gonna go heavily into Disney, only Disney stuff. It was really weird.
Yeah.
I mean, they did veer away from it a little bit, but it wasn't that much. But yeah. But Hook makes everything better, honestly.
That's been a theme in a number of the scripts that we've read recently, like in Neverending Story, right? Like that's how they defeated, it was you, Aubrey, who was playing the Gamork, and
Yes.
it was like you have to. The only way to win, for evil to win, is to destroy hope. That's
It's
the way
true.
to win. And this
Yeah.
one too, it's very much that same theme is still very much present in this one as well.
That's why what Regina did with the curse is she wanted everyone to have a bad ending, like
So
she
you could
did,
have
like
her
she felt
happy
like she did.
ending.
So
Yeah.
really, what she wanted them all is not to have hope or happy, or like, they still live, but nothing good happens to them. Like in the sense they don't get like true love. They feel empty and hopeless because that's how she felt. So it's really fascinating.
Well,
And her,
I hope by us doing readings like this and the Never Ending Story and other ones that do put hope out there, I hope those of you who do watch us that it kind of plants that seed in your lives. And
yes,
yeah.
I hope so. That's why we do it. We love to give hope and joy to others.
Aw, Vicky.
Have any of you guys seen the spin-off series, Once Upon a Time in Wonderland, which kind of went
Oh wait, I did start seeing it, but
2013 to 2014, based on, of course, Lewis Carroll's Alice's Adventures in Wonderland.
I did. It was very weird.
I mean, this is Alice in Wonderland.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't go past one season.
It says it only had 13 episodes.
Oh wow, it really did not take off. Yeah, I didn't remember that at all.
Remember back in the day when a season was 13 episodes?
Remember back in the day when a season was 26? Oh my
Oh
goodness.
man.
Yeah,
Those were the days.
22 or
22,
more.
26, yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the best.
Where you can actually have like character development over a long period of time.
Yeah, so I'm a big Trekkie, as everyone knows, I'm sure. And when I first watched Discovery, I was so thrown off by the pacing of Discovery because I was so used to having these,
No spoilers. I haven't had a chance to see it yet.
I'm not gonna tell you anything, but the only thing I'm gonna say is that I think the format for Star Trek really got lost because they didn't have time to flesh the character, like a lot of the characters, the carry storylines really out. Everything was so fast paced. I was just like, oh, what's happening? Oh wait, this is happening. Wait, what? Oh my gosh, this is weird. I'm like, this happened way too fast. And what happens when things happen way too fast? You don't feel anything. Like when things happen, like in Deep Space Nine, for instance, you felt them because you grew with those characters. You learned about them. When things happen in Voyager, it's the same thing. You learned about these characters. They're idiosyncrasies, and when they get lost, you feel that. If that makes sense, that's one of the reasons why I'm a big Trekkie fan. It's just because like you really get to know these characters. Even TOS, like you get to know, even though the episodes are self-contained, you stay with these characters. You get to understand their reasonings, the why they do things, and that makes it in itself a canon serialized story, because even though the episodes might be self-contained, these characters are acting within the canon of that story. Things that happen get referenced again, and so over time you really get to see these characters change and grow, and not so much as in TOS or Next Generation necessarily.
I was going to push back on the TOS thing. I have been having to rewatch all of TOS for fortunately someone is paying me to work to do some stuff about that, and there's not so much with the character development, especially
There's
if you're
not,
not,
but there's
yeah,
some. There's
especially
some. Like you can see,
anybody who
especially from
isn't
the
Kirk
early
or
to the middle.
Spock.
You can see it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, but
I'm rewatching it with my friend. I have all 3 seasons.
yeah.
There again, there is some, but it's it's interesting how these self-contained, episodes are. They're kind of in this little vacuum of a bottle, and it's like, oh, you got a reset button, but you do see some.
Mhm.
There is some character development,
But what I would say is, I mean, you're kind
especially
of
in the movie. And when you get to the movies, you definitely see it for
yeah,
TOS in
yeah.
particular.
When bringing it back to when like more modern stuff, like I mean,
Right.
we really like, boy, TV is so much better now.
Yes, I
But
will
I
say
mean,
that in a long
and
way.
what's
Yeah.
expected of actors and what's expected of acting and what's expected of the quality of the scripts is very different. And but something like Once Upon a Time, like you get a lot of there's see, I think that sometimes a like too long of too much, it can fall apart under the weight of like needing to come up with that much material. Like if you don't
Hmm.
have a really strong thing, or maybe having too much space and like throwing too much in. And I think like that also
That
is what
yeah.
we see. And and then I agree with you about Discovery. Like I couldn't have cared less about like anybody, and there's like in Discovery, it's like these very good actors and there's so much happening and they're like super intense. And I'm like, we haven't earned it. Like we don't care. Like it's, so yeah, I don't know. Sorry,
I don't know. I feel like they finally found their place within season 2, and they also like with Strange New Worlds. Strange New
I
Worlds
love
is
Strange New Worlds.
Fantastic. It's so good.
Strange New Worlds.
Anybody who's
Strange New Worlds
anybody,
just
like
works.
watch it. It works. Anson Mount
It
is freaking
works.
perfect.
Yeah, it works. It
My
works, but
captain.
some
He's
of it
great.
is that we've got a little bit of a shorthand there because it's pulling on so many, it's filling in these interesting gaps from
Absolutely.
original characters. So
Oh,
yeah,
I'll
that's
take that
all.
with a grain of salt. Yeah, of course.
But
Like,
also Strange New Worlds, that's a short episode run. Like what is it, 10? Like
10
so
episodes, but
yeah,
they
so
somehow
yeah,
made it work I'm just saying, I think they found the pacing style,
yeah.
which
They
I
found
wish there was more. I would like more anyways. I would like that regular format where we had those long episodes, but it still works. Like it as it is now, it's still working, but it
Mhm.
does have a really weird fast-paced style.
What Leslie was saying about having the being able to relate to your characters and things like that.
Yes.
This particular one we just read, obviously, with having fairy tale characters that we are all very familiar with. You don't need a whole lot of backstory necessarily. You know who the evil queen's like and what Snow White's like and Charming's like. And then you get this little twist on them. Like you have Charming is dating someone, named Abigail, and that does not happen in any fairy tale.
Right.
And I was
Yeah.
quite interesting to see, how much we have invested as children reading these stories and growing up in adulthood, how much of that carries forward. I was taking a look at the ratings, and it said that this one, this particular first season of Once Upon a Time, was essentially the highest got the highest amount of viewerships and ratings for any like drama in that series. It was the highest rated drama debut. And its most
Wow.
popular range was with people ages essentially 18 to 48. So you're looking at the latter part of Gen X down to a few generations that followed. So I found that quite interesting. And when you go to like the DVR, that jumps even higher. So it went from like a 4.0 rating to like a 5-point rating in that same age range. So consistent ratings every week, and essentially it was the highest non-sports program, I should say, with U.S. viewers on Sunday nights. So
Yeah, well, there's kind of, I think, this immediate connection because you're already invested in it. You already know, like you've already filled in half of the story, and then you're there to see where it's going with these ideas. So that's
I think the reason why is it took a risk, and it was like, here are all these characters that you know, but we're subverting some of them. We're in fact, we're subverting them all in a way. Like Rumpelstiltskin isn't just, this little gnome that you go and find, or that this queen finds to have, to make,
Mhm.
or the miller's daughter does to make straw gold. Here's actually here's Rumpelstiltskin, but yes, he also this guy named Gold, and what is he doing? And what's his story? What's that? And it's like, it's really interesting how they take even these smaller villain characters and they make them big, and they make them like they subvert a lot of them. And I think that's what it is. It's like, but that is a risk, taking a lot of these characters and being like, here's some things you may not know. Here's some of these things, like, and like if they're taken out of their element, who do they become? And it's like, well, that's
I
really
almost
interesting.
wonder if a 2025 show like this would get more pushback about
I
things
don't
not
know.
being right or correct or true. Like there's more of a, I don't know, there's more discourse over the way things should be amongst people than
Mm-hmm.
maybe 15 years ago. So I don't know. I'm just
It'd be
speculating.
interesting. It'd be interesting.
Speculating.
All right, I got to get going, guys. This has been fantastic. I really enjoy this. I'm gonna look.
This
I'm
is really
looking.
fun.
I'm
Thank
so
you.
looking forward to Willow. Cannot
And make
wait.
sure if you want Parts and Willow to sign up for both halves, if you want to read both halves. There are 2 separate event pages on our Facebook page. So,
I put going for both of them.
okay. Because I looked earlier, I had folks sign up on one, but not both. So,
Yeah, I'd only seen the second half, and then I saw it while we were getting ready to go
Cool.
to do this reading. I found it.
Thank you for having me back. It's been a
You're
while.
Leslie, you were
Not always able to
lovely.
do weekday nights, but
Also, I love your commitment to the role. I saw everything you were doing. It was fantastic.
thank you. Aw.
And you guys are always so good. Everyone is always so much fun. Night. Bye, guys.
all right. We'll see you.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night,
Bye, YouTube.
YouTube land. All right. Have fun storming the castle, you all.
You think it'll work?
It'd take a miracle.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
It'll take a miracle.